Hey everybody, today I'm going to do a short video on how to win games in the theme deck format with the Unseen Depths theme deck. That's the Kyogre theme deck. It's got Kyogre on the cover, but the main important, super awesome killer Pokemon in this deck is Empoleon. Empoleon really is the star of this deck. I consider this deck to be, I would say, the second best theme deck in the entire theme deck meta. It's second only to Dragonite. Even though this deck has a fairly good matchup against the Dragonite deck, it struggles a little bit against some of the newer theme decks with high numbers, such as Rillaboom, but I still think it's a really, really good choice. In my opinion, it is the second best theme deck in the format. So this video is targeted mainly at new players who are looking to get the cards that they don't have, maybe in standard or expanded, and one of the best ways to get cards without spending any money is to grind the theme deck tournaments. That's, you go over here down to events, and you make sure to select theme, and then you can play with the theme decks, and for each game you win, you will get a tradeable booster pack. And the difference between tradeable booster packs and the ones you buy in the store are that you can trade those, because of the name, for cards that you need. So you can then go into the trades and you can get whatever card you're looking for. So now I'm just going to tell you how to use this deck to its maximum potential. Now, if you look at the deck, like I said earlier, the main star of the deck is Empoleon, and the reason for that being this attack Recall, which lets you choose an attack from one of the previous evolutions and use it as this attack. And the strongest attack you can use is Direct Dive. So for 1 energy, you are using this Direct Dive attack, which discards all energy, which doesn't really matter because you're only discarding 1. And this attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is an amazing snipe. It just hits something on the bench for 100, which in theme deck formats, not a lot of things are bigger than 100 unless they're a stage 2, or there are some hefty basics out there, but 100 damage knocks out a lot of things. So the main thing you want to do with Direct Dive is get rid of the threats before they become big threats. So if you're playing against Charizard, you're playing against Dragonite, both of those decks rely on getting this big stage 2 in the form of either Charizard or Dragonite. So with Direct Dive, with using Recall on Direct Dive, you can actually get rid of this Dragonair or this Charmeleon before it's even fully evolved, right? So let's say turn 1, you're going first, you play Piplup, turn 2, then it's their turn, they put down a Charizard or, a Charmander or a Dratini, then it's your turn, you evolve into your Prinplup, their turn, they evolve into Charmeleon or Dragonair. Your turn, you evolve into Empoleon, use Recall, knock it out, and then you're so far ahead because your Stage 2 evolution has prevented their Stage 2 from even coming into play. So I think that's one of the biggest strengths against 2 of the strongest decks, or most popular decks, which are Dragonite and Charizard. I think this Recall attack is so strong. Aquafall doing 130 for only 2 energy is also really, really good. It's good value, even though you do have to discard your all energy. 130 hits a lot of things in theme deck format. It knocks out Kyogre, it knocks out Groudon, it knocks out pretty much anything except Dragonite in the Dragonite deck. It knocks out everything in Charizard deck, except for Nidoqueen, but I mean, Charizard's weak to water, so you're already doing a lot of damage there. Empoleon really is very strong. Kyogre is pretty good. High water attaches water energy from your discard pile to the Pokemon, so this can kind of counteract the energy you lose when it gets discarded. But Swirling Waves for 130, discarding 1 is also pretty good value. Doing 130 is, again, a lot in the theme deck format. So Kyogre is okay. It can be annoying if you start it because it has such a high retreat cost, but you do have a lot of ways to switch in the deck. You have 2 Tate and Liza, and you have 2 Switch. So you have at least 4 Switch cards. And even then, you can play things like Roller Skater, which lets you discard energy from your hand to draw additional cards. So you can, if you start the Kyogre, you can discard the energy and then reattach that energy to your Pokemon with the high water. So Kyogre's a pretty decent Pokemon here. It's a big basic that can do a lot of damage, but its main purpose is going to be to accelerate energy. Ambipom can do 120 damage by discarding trainer cards from your hand. Or, sorry, you can discard anything from your hand with Bye-Bye Throw. Doing 120 is, again, really good in the Theme Deck format. You're knocking out Thundurus, you're knocking out Tornadus. You're knocking out a lot of things. And then 60 HP Pokemon 2, you can knock those out. Just kind of basics that they start with. Drawing 2 cards with nice catch is also pretty good. Its HP is a little low, but you can get decent value out of this and pretty good trades. Golduck Energy Loop, you put an energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand. So the combo is you can do 80 damage with Energy Loop and then put this draw energy back into your hand. Then next turn, attach the draw energy again, draw another card, attack again, draw energy goes back into your hand. And you can do that for quite a long time and get a sizable hand. The main advantage to this deck is that there are no bad cards in the deck. A lot of theme decks have some useless cards. Probably the most useless card in this whole deck is Pyukumuku, which really I'm almost never going to play this. The second attack, Surprise Fist, you play Rock, Paper, Scissors. If you win, it does 60 more. I don't ever really think this is worth pulling off. If you start it, it's okay, because if you're going second, you can just use Call for Family and get your Piplup and then either Apom or Psyduck or Kyogre onto the bench really quickly, like whichever one you need, but you almost always want to get Piplup, and then you can pick the secondary basic. So Call for Family is not horrible, but if you're not forced to start this, I almost never even put this into play. Sometimes if you need to sacrifice something, that's that. Fion is so good, because there's not a lot of ways to switch your opponent's active Pokemon in theme decks. Some of the new theme decks have Pokemon Catcher, but that just relies on a coin flip. Whirlpool Suction is so good, especially if they have a Rapidash out, and they've flipped heads on something. You're playing against Charizard. You can just force that Rapidash to switch and knock something else out. If they have something you can't get over, and they have a lot of weaker HP Pokemon on the bench, you can Whirlpool Suction again. If you're trying to direct dive something, but the Pokemon you want to KO is active, you can Whirlpool Suction, put it on the bench, and then just use direct dive to snipe it so that they're stuck with something. There's lots of options here. The reason I think that this deck is the second best theme deck behind Dragonite is because of just the amount of options that you have. Dragonite has those Pidgeotos, so you can draw additional cards in addition to your supporters. So Dragonite is usually able to get a bigger hand, and you're able to have a lot more options. Don't get me wrong, this deck still has a lot of options. This deck is still pretty strong, and this deck is actually, I think, strongest against both Dragonite and Charizard, but the reason I have it ranked lower is because against some of the new Sword and Shield decks, primarily Empoleon and Rillaboom, this deck might struggle a little bit more than Dragonite might. But I think this is a really good choice for theme deck tournaments, and if you're a new player and you're running into lots of Charizards on the theme deck, in theme deck events and on the ladder, this hits that for weakness. A lot of fire decks are an auto win with this, and in general, you just have a lot of good cards. A Viridian Forest is really good to like thin your deck, cycle through your water energies. You can discard a water, search for another water. That becomes a water you can then accelerate later with Kyogre. Pokemon Fan Club, find that Piplup turn 1. That's super crucial. 2 Cynthia's, really good draw supporter. How is good in theme deck formats because there's not a lot better. There's no Marnies or anything like that. So How is probably as good as it gets in theme deck format. Every single card does serve a purpose, and most of it is just draw. Your supporters, your items are draw, search, and switch, which is kind of what you're going to be wanting to do a lot of the time. Overall, I think this is a really good deck, and if Dragonite is not your favorite, this is probably the best alternative, and especially if like everyone's playing Dragonite and that mirror match is just not in your comfort zone, this deck actually has a pretty good chance against Dragonite. So I think this is a really good option, definitely the second best theme deck, and if you're a new player, crushing with this theme deck is a really fast way to start getting those tradable packs without spending any money, so that you can build a standard deck to be however you like with whatever cards you need. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. If this is your first time here at the channel, be sure to like and subscribe and comment and all that stuff. It really helps the channel out. And let me know if you would like more videos on the theme deck format, like an analysis or a tier list or anything like that. If that interests you, let me know in the comments. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
You can stay as long as you